Hi everyone, welcome to Enjoy English School. I'm Steven.
I'm Minnie.
Today is part 2 of culture, and our date is January 12th, still covering pages 24 to 27, still with the title Motorcycles versus Scooters.
今天1月12号，所以延续昨天的，在24到27页，文化之窗一样要讲的是机车大车拼。
In the battle of two-wheeled transportation, which comes out on top?
那在这两轮的交通工具之间的战争，到底谁会胜出呢？
So when we say who will come out on top or what will come out on top, we mean who will win.
谁会赢 ？Win 这个字。
All right, let's find out more information on motorcycles. Motorcycles aren't the only way to have fun on two wheels, though.
摩托车并非在两个轮子上享乐的唯一路径哦。
Right, so this is a continuation of what we were talking about yesterday. So this sentence is kind of a transition, kind of introducing something new. Sounds like we're going to find out more about something that has two wheels, but is different from motorcycles.
那因为我们昨天的课程有讲到说，机车是所有年轻男人的梦嘛，对不对？然后机车呢，也是一个很好旅游的方式，所以我们今天就用这样子的一个句子来当做转承，告诉我们说还有其他的途径。
Right, and we know that with the word though. Okay, 虽然 or something new is being introduced is though. Okay, in Europe, scooters are often the way to go.
那在欧洲的话，所谓的 scooter， 中文我们这边翻译速克达才是王道哦。
Scooters. So in Taiwan, when we say 机车, those are more like scooters. Okay, so scooters are often the way to go. Pay attention. Often, even though it has a T, we usually don't pronounce it. We don't usually go often. Okay, some people do, but it's actually more natural to say often. Okay, so often the way to go. What does it mean by the way to go? That means this is the popular thing to do. Okay, that's the way to go, or that's the right way to do something, or the popular way to do something.
所以受欢迎的方法，正确的方法，我们就会用什么 way to go 这样子。
But what's the difference between the two?
那这两者差异到底是什么呢？
Generally, scooters are smaller in size with smaller engines.
那以 generally 就是通常普遍来讲，速克达通常是机身比较小，而且有比较小的引擎。
So generally, you could also say like usually scooters are smaller in size, okay? Or in general, 也可以这样子讲. In general, scooters are smaller in size. So that means that scooters probably, I didn't know that about scooters actually. I thought I never really knew the difference between the two. I just know that they look kind of different, right? So scooters usually look more comfortable, and they look less dangerous in my opinion. Motorcycles usually have the person usually has to hunch over and I think because the speed is a little different too.
这样在台湾，如果你考驾照的话，你可能有了驾照之后，你也可以骑比较小台的机车，我们称为小绵羊。但你如果要骑可能比较大台机车125、150的话，那你要再考另外一个驾照。
Oh, really? It's a different license. Oh, and also motorcycles are usually a little bit noisier. They make more noise. Oh, so that might be the reason why. Let's find out more.
Okay.
This means they can't travel as fast as motorcycles, but they are great for getting around a crowded city.
所以比较小的引擎，这就意味着说他们行驶的速度无法跟摩托车一样那么快，但他们很适合用来在这种很 crowded city 拥挤的城市里面四处溜达，就很方便。
Right, so 四处溜达 in English is getting around a crowded city, okay? Because literally if you say getting around, that means like you're going around the crowded city, but we actually mean like you're going through the crowded city. You're going from A to B, but you're also going around different streets so that you can get there. Okay, so that's what we mean by getting around a crowded city. And please pay attention to they can't travel as fast as motorcycles. That means that they're slower than motorcycles.
无法和什么一样快，意思就是相较下比较慢，所以我们也可以用 slower 这种 comparative 的形容词的用法。
That's right. Let's take a short break. In Europe, scooters became particularly fashionable after World War II.
所以速克达 scooter 这个东西在欧洲，在二 2战以后，它变得有一点格外的时尚，变成一个时尚配件了。
Right, so particularly, another word you could use is especially.
特别
Okay, 特别的 right? So especially fashionable after World War II. I want to talk about this word world, okay?
World.
It's kind of very difficult to say for a non-native English speaker. So let's focus on war like this. War. So open up your mouth and make your mouth like the shape of your mouth very round, okay? Whirl. And also the space inside your mouth needs to be very open, okay? So whirl, that part, your tongue is low. Whirl. And then after, because there's an L, your tongue has to go forward. Whirl, world. Okay? So tongue is like this. World. Okay. So you have to kind of use your tongue to go forward to make that very circular round sound in the beginning of whirl. And then world, you use your tongue to kind of flick out to make the rest of the word and end with a D sound. World.
这教太仔细了。
Because it's difficult. I hear people say like whirl, like that. Because even for English speakers, when we say it very quickly, it's difficult. But if you practice your muscles in your mouth to make those sounds, giving yourself more space inside your mouth, it will help you say a lot of words like this. So World War II. Okay.
所以在发 WORLD 的时候要注意你那个舌头，其实舌头就是一片肌肉嘛，所以你其实多去练习它，像老师刚刚那个手这样，有没有？所以你的舌头要跟着这样子，你的那个发音就会越来越标准。然后刚刚老师有讲到一个很重要的一个点是，你要让空间给你的舌头在你的嘴巴里面活动，才可以把声音发得更正确。
Right. And also I said this word World War II. So this word is W-O-R-D. It's very similar to world. It's just missing an L. Okay, but word 字这个字其实它是有点像 W-E-R-D 的发音，然后舌头是压鼻的 word. So word World War II. Okay, 注意一下这个发音，可以练 this word World War II 这样子念。It's difficult, but practice.
This word World War II.
Yes. Okay. 好 It was then that an Italian company, Vespa, produced the first scooter with a gear shift on the handlebars.
哇，又有一个著名的来了，就是这个时候呢，也就是2战之后变得格外时尚的这个时候，有一间叫做韦氏牌的意大利公司生产了第一台在手把上富有打档感的这个速克达。
Right, so here in the very beginning, it was then that an Italian company. So then we know that's like 然后, right? But in this situation, it's being used like at that time. 在那个时期, it was at that time that an Italian company, which company? Vespa. What did they do? Produced the first scooter. So they made or created the first scooter. What did it have? A gear shift on the handlebars. Let's talk about the handlebars first. Handle is where you put your hand on something. 手把. And handlebars are like
手把杆.
手把杆, 没错. And a gear shift is whenever you want to change the gears.
打档.
So shift. Let's talk about this word shift first. Shift means to change something.
改变.
So you're changing the gears. What are gears? Gears are like the toothed little equipment or the tools, the part in the engine where there's like a little tooth.
齿轮.
Yeah, 齿轮. And then when you change the 齿轮, when you change the gears, it makes the engine change. Okay, so that's what the gear shift is. You're changing the gears with the handlebar. So it's like a little knob on the handlebar where you can turn it and change the gears.
所以像一个小手把一样，你可以转动，然后可以换挡的意思，就代表说有点像我们脚踏车一样，你换1、2、3变速的时候，所以它的齿轮扣的地方可能会不一样，所以我们才会叫做 gear changing 或 shift 这个字，也就是改变的意思。
Yes. So you can say, if you want to use the verb form, you could say shift the gears on the handlebars. But here we're using the shift the gear as a noun. Gear shift on the handlebars.
对 ，shift 也可以当动词。那我们这个情况，我们要把它当成是名词。
That's right. Unlike motorcycles, the scooter's engine was placed near the rear wheel.
所以他说，与摩托车不同的是，这个速克达的引擎是被装置在 后轮的附近。
So when we say the beginning of the sentence, unlike motorcycles, we know that we're going to learn something that's different about the motorcycle, about the scooters. Okay, so this is a very good way to start a sentence. Immediately, as a listener, you'll know that, oh, I'm about to learn some new information
things.
about scooters that are different from motorcycles. So this is why transitions are very important. It helps the reader or the listener know immediately that some new information is about to be introduced.
所以在这边我们又体现了一次转成词厉害的地方，马上就抓到读者的这个注意力了，对不对？我们用 unlike 出现，读者就已经有一个预期心理说，哦，我接下来要学到的东西跟摩托车不一样哦。
And what does it mean by was placed somewhere?
被放置。
被放置. You could say was put near the rear wheel. What is the rear wheel? The back wheel. It's just another way. It's just another way to say back. Okay, so what's the opposite? The front wheel. Okay. This gave the reader a comfortable space to put their feet down.
这呢就可以给这个骑士一个很舒适的空间来放置他们的脚。
Right, so anybody who is on a motorcycle or on a scooter is a rider. Okay, so this gives the rider a comfortable space to put their feet down. Smaller wheels made the Vespa easy to drive through Italy's narrow city streets.
所以比较小型的这个车轮也可以让韦氏牌，就是骑韦氏牌的人可以很轻松的穿梭在这个意大利城市的这个窄巷子里面。
Right, so here we see made the Vespa easy to drive through Italy. 让它, right? It could also use the verb allowed. Okay, so smaller wheels allowed this Vespa to be easy to drive through Italy's narrow city streets. So narrow is 狭窄的. And then the opposite of narrow is wide, W-I-D-E, which means
宽广的.
Okay. Soon all of Europe was hooked.
所以全欧洲很快的就都 hooked 被挂住了，意思就是着迷了。
Right, 很快就是 soon， 就是这个发明之后 ，Vespa 这个发明之后 ，soon
人手一台啊。
整个 Europe。All of Europe was hooked, and hooked is like 像钩，像鱼在钓鱼的时候有个钩嘛，就是大家觉得好厉害，一咬下去哇被钩了。Now another word you could use here is addicted. All of Europe was addicted because it became very popular, so they instantly caught their attention and they couldn't let go.
Addicted 这个字是指说有点像是上瘾了。
上瘾了。Sometimes it's about really bad things like drugs or bad substances. But if we say that I'm addicted to hamburgers, of course you're not really addicted to it, right? You're just saying you really, really like it. Okay,
非常喜欢。
Like everybody in Europe now really likes Vespas or like scooters. Okay, let's take a short break. In places such as Taiwan and Vietnam, scooters have proved hugely popular too.
那像是在台湾或越南这些地方呢，这个速克达也同样的广泛受到欢迎。
So what does it mean to say prove to be something or have proved an adjective? That means that they have shown evidence that they are very popular.
证实。
证实。So they have proved hugely popular in Taiwan and Vietnam too. Okay, so what does hugely mean? This adverb. You could also use have proved to be very popular. So hugely is just another way to say very. It's just another way to kind of emphasize that it's like more than very. It's like huge in Chinese. 这个形容词 is like 巨大的. So hugely just like is another way to say that.
广泛的被接受，或者我们可以用刚刚上一节讲到的这个
widely. Yes,
也可以。
These are all different ways to say the same thing. Okay. Since the 1980s, Taiwan has been one of the leading scooter manufacturers in the world.
那自从 1980s 1980年代开始，台湾就成为世界上首屈一指的速克达产地咯。
So one of the leading scooter manufacturers, that means that we're not number one, but we're very close to being number one. Maybe number two, number three. That's what one of the leading manufacturers means. Okay? If we were the leading manufacturer, then we would take out one of the. We would just say Taiwan has been the leading scooter manufacturer. And 这个时候不会是复数，因为你是唯一的一个 in the world. 但是如果是其中一个 that's why we say manufacturers.
所以在这边老师讲到一个很重要，也是国高中非常常考的题目之一 ，one of 其中之一，后面的名词要用，如果你要用可数的话，那就也要用复数，因为你代表众多里面其中之一。但如果你就是首屈一指，只有你的话，那我们就直接说 the 就好了，我们就不用 one of，我们就可以直接用 the leading。那后面的这个 manufacturers 的 s 就会拿掉。
Yes.Okay, in the beginning of the sentence, since the 1980s. It doesn't mean because the 1980s. 它不是因为，是自从。Okay, so since the 1980s. So whenever you see since with a date, that usually means 自从那个日期开始。So here, Taiwan has been one of the leading scooter manufacturers. This word is a little difficult to say. Let's say the verb form first. Manufacture. Okay, if you want to make that into the person who manufactures, you just say manufacturer.
Manufacturer.
Yeah, 后面再加一个的声音。It's a little difficult because 后面已经有个 r 的声音。
Now you're
对 so manufacturer. Okay, so if you say it quickly, naturally, manufacturer. Okay, manufacturers in the world. Okay, so currently there are about 15 million scooters in Taiwan.
Wow, 所以目前全台约有1500万台速克达。
That's a lot of scooters. I didn't realize we
had a lot of pollution.
That is true. But nowadays they're doing like electric powered scooters. So it kind of helps with the carbon footprint. Okay, do you know what the carbon footprint is?
二氧化碳。
二氧化碳 is the carbon pollution, right? So carbon footprint is what each person every day with our use of with scooters, motorcycles, public transportation, driving a car, it causes carbon emissions or carbon release.
排放量。
Yeah, so each of us has like a carbon footprint. Like 我们走路的时候很像留下的那个脚印嘛。
这个中文应该要怎么讲？
So carbon footprint. Like how much carbon you're using.
碳足迹。
Yes, that's a really good one. That's it. So all of us leave a carbon footprint. So we're trying to decrease that.
所以如果每个人的平均自己产量碳足迹可以降低的话，整个总和就会降低。
That's right. In Vietnam, there are over 58 million of these machines on the road.
哇，所以越南则是有超过5800万台行驶于路上。
Wow. And now we're saying, because I think the writer didn't want to say scooters over and over again.
Yeah.
So now they're using the word machine to replace scooter so it doesn't sound repetitive. Okay. Because literally scooters are machines, you know? Okay. So what's your favorite form of two-wheeled transportation?
所以呢，结论就是你最喜欢的两人行式交通工具是什么呢？
Right, so here two-wheeled is an adjective, okay, to describe something that has two wheels.
两个轮子的。
All right, so now let's go to the review section. All right, Minnie 老师, what does it mean by saying that's the way to go?
那就代表什么事情是王道，或做什么事情的方法是什么。
没错。And if I have a scooter, it's easy to get around.
那就你要去哪里呀，悠游四处都非常的方便。
Yes. If I said that, hey, this shirt is particularly fashionable, what does that mean?
就是尤其的、特别的。fashionable 就是代表它很流行。
Right. So particularly, another word you could use is especially. Okay? And here, fashionable, that is actually the correct adjective for fashion. Because in Taiwan, I hear people say, wow, how fashionable. Okay, but actually, how fashionable. 其实它的形容词是 fashionable.
哇，好 fashionable.
对对，但是在台湾 you can always just say whatever you want to say, but in English 要知道它的差别是 fashion 是它的名词，
词性不一样啊。
对，fashionable 是它形容词。Okay, that's very fashionable. Okay? Don't say that's very fashionable to someone in America because they will know that.
They'll be like, huh?
Yeah, huh? What? They'll know what you mean, but it's more correct to use the adjective fashionable. What does narrow mean?
代表很狭窄的。
Okay, and what's the opposite?
Wide.
W-I-D-E. Okay?
Narrow 也可以来形容一个人心胸狭窄，对不对
？Narrow-minded.
Narrow-minded.
Narrow-minded is what we would say.
心胸狭窄。
心胸狭窄。Okay? And if we say that he is hooked What does that mean?
就代表他完全上钩，就是他上瘾了，他没有他不行了。
Yeah, so all of Europe was hooked with the Vespa.
We are all hooked
Yeah.
with cell phones.
Or hooked to something. Yes, that's right. Okay, and what does it mean by the leading manufacturer?
就代表他是首屈一指，具有领导品牌的那种感觉 leading.
And currently, Taiwan has 15 million scooters. Currently means
目前，或者是我们也可以讲 lately，或者是
recently or nowadays. These are all different ways to say the same thing. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
第26页，文化之窗，机车大车拼。
Motorcycles versus scooters. Motorcycles aren't the only way to have fun on two wheels, though. In Europe, scooters are often the way to go. But what's the difference between the two? Generally, scooters are smaller in size with smaller engines. This means they can't travel as fast as motorcycles, but they are great for getting around a crowded city. In Europe, scooters became particularly fashionable after World War II. It was then that an Italian company, Vespa, produced the first scooter with a gear shift on the handlebars. Unlike motorcycles, the scooter's engine was placed near the rear wheel. This gave the rider a comfortable space to put their feet down. Smaller wheels made the Vespa easy to drive through Italy's narrow streets. Soon, all of Europe was hooked. In places such as Taiwan and Vietnam, scooters have proved hugely popular too. Since the 1980s, Taiwan has been one of the leading scooter manufacturers in the world. Currently, there are about 15 million scooters in Taiwan. In Vietnam, there are over 58 million of these machines on the road. So, what's your favorite form of two-wheeled transportation?